this is an academic discussion. I'm not saying I'm forcing you to pick one player. You think that I'm forcing you to pick a player that you're saying that you're arguing the Niners should trade rather than give a second contract. So you have to pick someone, even if you don't believe it. Who is it?
So who we think they should trade, or who we think is most likely to?
Who you would pick as the one guy the Niners should flip rather than extend?
I'll let Nick go first because I have a couple.
Okay. Man, this is tough because I feel like it contradicts my stance on why I was so up in arms over the DeForest Buckner trade, because I'm a true believer in you draft and you extend your guys. I really do believe that's one of the better ways to build a football team. But I also get the argument of the benefits of having a player on a rookie contract and getting something in return before you have to pay them all this money. So when you look at the 49ers roster and guys that they drafted recently who could be in this conversation, Nick Bosa, I'm not trading Nick Bosa. He's a cornerstone defensive end. Maybe my opinion on him changes depending on how he comes back from his ACL. This is the second time he tore his ACL. He also tore it in high school. So I'm not trading Bosa. I think Brandon Ayuk has the potential to be a very good wide receiver in the NFL, top 15, top 10. Deebo Samuel's the one name that I think you might be able to get decent trade value for. I don't see it being a first-round pick, but you might be able to get a day 2 pick. And the reason why I look into Harding Samuel is if you upgrade at the quarterback position, you don't need to use him extensively as an extension of the ground game. And he also has such a deep injury history and I think that hurts his trade value, but he's the one guy I'd monitor. But I really, really like Deebo Samuel's offense. I'm more in favor of trading guys like Jaquiski Tart or K'Wan Williams, who have already gotten their second contract and are getting ready to hit the market again. I think the 49ers missed an opportunity there at the trade deadline in the season this past year, because now you're going to get nothing except for maybe compensatory picks for those guys. So Deebo Samuel, since I have to pick one for Grant, I'm going to go Deebo Samuel.
Got to pick one. Good call.
You were mad about the compensatory picks, and that's all I picked for my guys. So I said a similar thing to what Martin Mayhew did when he came to the 49ers from the Lions and got Laken Tomlinson for a 5th-round pick. I could see Mike McGlinchey and Justin School eventually being traded for 7th-round picks, and even Tarvarius Moore. Who knows what the Browns or Jets? The Jets need a lot of safeties. If they could get Tarvarius Moore for a 5th or 6th-round pick, and the Niners are willing to move on because they saw what they needed to see this year, if he's a starter or not, who knows? So those would be my 3 guys I think would be the most likely to be traded before the end of their rookie deal. And if I had to pick one, obviously it'd be McGlinchey and move on from right tackle, because if another team can fix what's wrong with them, that'd go a long way. I could see the Jets going that route. If Benton was a big fan of him, who knows? 7th-round pick, I think both teams would seriously consider it.
Yeah. The way I'm looking at this is I'm trying to pick a player who's good and could get a lot back, but is also going to be really expensive in free agent, like a guy who's going to be like too expensive. So I'm thinking, also I want to win the trade. Like if you traded Deebo Samuel and you get a 1st, well, you picked him in the 2nd. That's where you improved on the value of that pick. So that's cool. The thing about Brandon Ayuk is, wide receivers are really expensive. Is a possibility that Deebo and Ayuk could be super duper expensive on their second contracts if they have big seasons coming up. The thing about Ayuk is the Niners traded up for him in the 1st round. So trading him would be hard because you seem like you'd be losing that trade. So to me, the answer here is Nick Bosa. Even though he's excellent, he's going to get way more than Aaron Donald. He's going to get more than his brother. When he gets that contract, assuming that he doesn't tear his ACL again, that he has 2 more, 16-game seasons and plays really well, he's going to be the highest paid defensive player of all time. He's going to get like $30 million a season baseline. And I wouldn't pay that to a quarterback, let alone a defensive end. And I think you could get 2 first-round picks for him. People love Nick Bosa. They think he's the greatest player of all time. So great, you take those 9.5 sacks and give me 3 first-round picks, and we'll move on, and I'll find a way to win without Nick Bosa or to play defense without him the way the Niners did this year. So Bosa for sure. Deebo is a close number 2.
Yeah, and I'm following along to the comments this wouldn't, if you trade Nick Bosa or Deebo, well, with Ayuk and Bosa, at least they have so many years remaining left on their contract. Bosa's under contract for 3 more years. So this is way down the road. And we'd see how his injuries shake out. So it's not, we're not advocating for this stuff to happen right now. It's just when their rookie contracts are set to expire.
That's right. Yep. And you want to sell high. Like, you're not going to trade Bosa right off an ACL tear, or you're not going to trade Deebo Samuel right off a 7-game season. You're like, if Bosa comes out next year and has 15 sacks and is worth the Deshaun Watson trade, well, I'm thinking about it.